Hello Sagittarius, thank you for tuning into your general read. For the main part of the read, I'm using the Spellcaster's Tarot by Melanie Marquis, illustrated by Scott Murphy. And for the supportive oracle cards, the Angel Answers Oracle cards by Doreen Virtue and Radley Valentine. Already shuffled. Let's see what we got. Right. Okay. Okay. Oh, like, all right. I do feel like I have an overall energy. And at first I wasn't thinking these cards were really going together as well as they are, but I guess they are. So we'll take it step by step here, of course. Two of Wands is where you're starting. Actively making that choice. But being influenced by others. I'm feeling like there's some type of input here externally. Somebody's pushing you one way or the other. And the reason I'm saying one way or the other is like for some of you, people are just pulling on your ear and you're going along with what they want. For others of you, people are pulling on your ear and you're not for it at all, and you go exactly the opposite way. Whichever way it falls, which I feel the majority of you are going the way this person wants, whoever it is. Whichever way it falls, it seems to be leading to this type of situation. Now, not to ruin the whole story here, but I feel like what happens is it goes bad, then it goes good, whichever way you choose, just so you know. And there's some type of question here about if the bad is really that bad or if it's just really perceived that way. We're going to keep going, of course. Because what I'm seeing here, the Magician with the Three of Swords is the first part. This is how you're going into this time. And somebody is really influencing you. I feel for some of you, you have a partner that's pushing you, or there's somebody close to you that's pushing on you, giving you some stress about a situation. And I feel like you might be going... When I'm seeing the Magician with this Three of Swords, I feel like the choice you're making is causing a rift in that relationship. Okay. So the reason the Three of Swords is here is because the choice you're making, your partner, if it's not your partner, it's like a close family member, best friend, somebody that usually you get along with quite well, that you very much... Their opinion matters to you, but sometimes you just have to do what you have to do. It's kind of one of those situations. You have to do what you feel is right. So you go forward and you do that, and it's causing a rift in that relationship. Now I'm seeing the Three of Swords, but I'm getting it's a rift, not like a destruction. But it's definitely a rift. Like, and there's something going on here because there's this bittersweet moment here. Very bitter in the sense of like you have the Ten of Swords here, which is feeling very upset, loss and ruin. This is definitely causing a rift. And I'm noticing like the other side is vacant. There's no card on the other side explaining the other person. I'm feeling like there's just like a shut off. Like the other person is upset, be it a partner, close family member, close friend, however this is, the other person's shutting off is what I'm getting. So there's no card explaining it because there's no response. It's like it's vacant. Which I thought it would give some type of card like to give you some direction what's going on there. I just feel like the other person's just like stepping out of the situation for a moment, or they're just not talking about it or acting like it's not happening, something along those lines. Wait, so let's keep going. The reason there's no card, I feel like there's more information coming through. You might be moving forward in a way where they don't realize you've made this decision yet. There's a vacant spot here. There's no card. But they're saying, for some of you, definitely, you haven't said, you made this decision. You're upset because you're knowing this is going to hit. Like, they're going to find out. There's just no way they're not. That's why the Ten of Swords is here in the abundance. You're feeling this is the right thing to do. Abundance, you're feeling this is good. But the other person doesn't know, and you're on pins and needles. You're just kind of like, you're very upset because you're like, this is gonna hit at some point. There's no way to get around it. And I feel like the longer this moment goes on, the more it builds up. That's why this side's empty. They're saying that's why this side's empty. There's like, it's either one of two things. Either you haven't told the other side of the decision you made, or they're not responding yet. And you're left in this moment either way where you're just kind of like, it's weighing on you. Like, I feel it's all mental. Ten of Swords, you're feeling like this is going to be a big problem. The other person's going to freak out. This could be a major, major hit to the relationship. You're really worried. I feel like that's what's coming down on you. This loss and ruin that you're feeling, I feel like it's getting away from you. You might be taking it there and just anticipating the worst. Because abundance is there for you, saying that this is a good decision. This is going to pay out in the long run. This can pay off well in the long run. But I'm seeing like this open spot here. Either you haven't told them or they're not responding. One of the two. And you're getting nothing back. You're getting nothing back. Because either one, they don't know, or you haven't told them. And it's hard. Because you're locked with your own thoughts only. So I feel like you're imagining the worst here. Be for good or for bad. I'm not really getting which, but that's what I'm feeling is happening. The next thing that happens here is the Four of Pentacles. That Ten of Swords that's pushing down on you. The worry about how this other person either will react or is reacting, however this is falling for you, you are really becoming extremely defensive. Now, again, I don't want to come across like that's a good thing or a bad thing. This is just denoting this is what's happening. But I feel like it makes sense because you're not getting any feedback and you're like, it's almost like fortifying your defenses, like getting ready for that moment where the other person flips out. Either because, again, you need to tell them and you're getting ready to tell them and you're really nervous about it and you're just trying to strengthen yourself to take the blow, or they're not responding at all. They do know, but they're not responding. You're just waiting for that moment where they just come at you and they just tell you exactly what they think about the situation and you're expecting the worst. But it's definitely bringing some tension here. And I'm not getting it's good or bad, which, like, I'm saying that because I'm not saying that you should or shouldn't feel that way. I don't feel like that's the point of this card or this reading. I feel like it's just to let you know what's going on and then to see what happens after it with how this is playing out in its natural rhythm. Sometimes I think I read and people get a little upset because they think I'm judging them personally. I'm not. I'm just telling you as it's coming through. The whole purpose of these is to give you a grander view of the whole situation. And if there's some leeway that is acceptable for you, if this is hitting for you, you can change it or prepare for it as necessary. Now, that moment goes into these other moments here. I have 3 face-down cards, which doesn't happen in every reading, but what happens when I have a face-down card is the unknown or it's a secret, one of the two. For you in this reading, I feel like it's the unknown, especially even though there's one on the other side, it's still the unknown because I feel like it's how things are developing through. Now, at this moment of the Four of Pentacles, this is a pivotal moment because you're not, even though there's a defensive energy here, for good or for bad, you are definitely bringing forth the information. Now, if you have already said this if the other person already knows, you're bringing forth what's going on just to see where the other person is standing because you need to know because it's beating you up. It's hurting you. You have to know. If they don't know, you're like, this has to come out now, has to come out from me because if they find out in a different way, that's like instead of a firecracker, a stick of dynamite. You're like, you know what? This has to come from me. So if they haven't figured it out yet, if you haven't told them yet, you're deciding, even though it's the Four of Pentacles and you're very defensive and holding back, you have made this decision, like they have to find out from me. If it comes out a different way, it's definitely going to be much worse than coming directly from me. So I have to bring this forward. As worried and upset I am about this, I have to bring this forward. And I feel like there's a strong stance there. Like you realize that this is how you need to do this, or else you're really, really going to have some problems. Even though you're already having the tens of, you're thinking, even though I have the Ten of Swords already, and I'm feeling like this could be really a bad moment, it's definitely going to be beyond that if I don't bring it forward myself. I kind of, like, there's an ownership here, like, feeling like, you know what, if I bring it forth, at least there's a chance. Like, if there's any chance to fix this, or for it to not destroy everything, I have to bring it forward. If I don't bring it forward, I might as well just throw it in the garbage if I'm not going to handle it. It's kind of like that thought. Now this, I'm noticing, is where the other side starts participating. So, whichever way this is falling, I'm seeing the participation, and I must say, they have listened to their intuition, and they have the Four of Wands. The person you're dealing with, whether it be a romantic partner, friend, family, close person, this person is close to you, however it is, they're honoring the relationship with you. They're having this moment where they're just trusting you. They're trusting the love they have in you. I feel like they're just kind of pacifying it with themselves, like, it's one of those things like the reality is here. This is happening. They know that they love you, however that falls into place, whichever way. And they're not questioning that bond with you. I feel like to listen to the intuition on their side is like, they believe you have best intentions. They do not see anything malicious about what you've done. Okay. So that being said, I love that. I love that term. It's true. Somebody pointed it out. It is true. Where this is right here, this seems to be coloring the next spot. This is the first of the three face down cards. Compromise. So there's a talking of this. This is being talked out. You did what you felt you had to do. You did. And there's a lot of abundance there. But you're upset about how the other person is going to take this. That relationship is it's paramount. A very close relationship if this is hitting. So you're willing to compromise. Anywhere that won't damage what you have to do. If it won't damage the situation, you're more than willing to compromise. If it's making it take a little longer, or, you know what I mean, you have to do a little something else in return, whatever it is, you're willing to do, as long as it doesn't damage the decision you made, whatever has to be done has to be done. That's that. You're having a very strong moment here, because I feel like the other side is working with you. It's not the Ten of Swords you thought it was. But I do see the Page of Swords. This was face down as well. You are staying in this moment. It's like the Page is more of a passive energy, but this, I've noticed with this card especially, the way in this deck how it's depicted, it feels very defending your position. But pages are more of like a follower, with my experience, I must say. So I find this very interesting because you're not overly aggressive, but you are holding your position. You're holding your position, but you're not overly aggressive. I feel like this is also saying the compromise. You're not overly aggressive, but if the other person is trying to steer you away from making this or steering you away from this decision, or trying to get you to repeal it or reverse it in some sense, if they're trying to do that, or just trying to see if they can get you to do that, you're standing your ground. And you're just like, if you have to, you'll reset the conversation, I feel, and just start from square one and be like, well, I can't do that, but this is what I can do, and you'll restart the whole conversation if you have to. I don't feel like you're overly aggressive, but you're definitely standing your ground. You're just being very cautious? No, what word do I want to use? You have a lot of care for this person, so you're trying to not be overly aggressive. And if they keep trying to move you into a direction you don't want to go, I feel like you're resetting the conversation, or like if there's a piece of it that's not working out, you'll start that over from scratch and you'll start it going a different direction. But I feel like you're taking the stance of like, I'll talk it to death before I backtrack, because this has to, I've already started this. I'm going forward with it. So I'm going to try to make this as peaceful as possible, but I'll just, like, I feel like you'll talk it to death before you back down, but you're not becoming overly aggressive. You're not getting in the other person's face like, I made this decision, I'm doing this. It's not coming across like that. You keep trying to find other options, but if it's not going the way you need it to, and you're realizing it's going to, cause damage to what you've already done and where you need to go, you're just resetting that conversation, starting it again in a different line, and you just keep going over it until the other person, and you seem to come to a compromise that works for both of you. I feel like the whole point here is it might take a bit of work. I feel like it might be more than one conversation, like a few conversations. It depends on your situation and how deep it is, but it might have to be something like, well, let's talk about it more later because I have to do this or that. You might need breathers from it because I feel like this might take a while. Now, this ends up with the Empress card. And I feel like you've protected what you needed to protect. You're honoring the relationship that you need to honor. You're going forward. But you're looking back at the other person that this is affecting. And you're just keeping a close eye on what's going on there. But I feel like you are making that progress going forward. But I feel like it's a bit of like you have to keep your eye on the situation that you've chosen to go forward with and the person that you're afraid it's going to really cause problems in the relationship with. Like be it the romantic, friend, family, whatever it is. You're keeping an eye on that relationship very closely and this situation at the same time. You're trying to just stay in a position where you can like mediate and smooth over whatever edges need to be and just keep things going. I don't feel like this is like an indefinite situation. I just feel like you're looking at this as like, I have to get this ship out of port. Once I get this ship out of port and it's sailing on its own, I don't think it'll be as much of an issue. But at this point, you're still trying to set sail and you're just keeping an eye on, getting out of harbor and keeping the other person as happy as possible. Now, there's one last card that's face down. This is on your partner's side. This was face down. A year from now, this is going to take some time before it really settles in for the other person. I've said this before with this card, if you haven't heard it, it doesn't have to mean a literal year, but like I like to use the kid equivalent of like, if you ask them, in America where I am, we celebrate Christmas usually around December 25th. There's other holidays too. It's just what I'm familiar with, so I hope that doesn't come across weird. But I remember when I was a kid, September was there, and if somebody asked me how far Christmas was away, I'd be like, oh my god, it's a lifetime away, like so far. Literally, it's probably like 3 months. Like, maybe a little longer than 3 months. It's not a lifetime away, but to me, it felt like it. To me, like, this card matches the feeling of it being a long way out. So, it's a long haul. And I noticed it's on the other person's side in the sense of, like, I feel like it's telling you, like, they might kind of question here and there. I don't feel like it's going to be anything like the time here where you compromised, but you may have to, like, smooth over things and keep an eye on things for a good while. Could be an actual year, but it's going to be a long while anyway. So you'll know. I feel like you'll know when things are settled and calm, but it's just, I feel like they're just saying settle in for that long haul because you're going to probably be in this position for a while. Good? Good. All right, I'm going to wrap that up there. Of course, if you'd like a reading from me, go ahead and shoot me an email, james4astral@gmail.com, james4astral@gmail.com. Thank you.